I'm back. How was everybody's break and holidays? Mine was pretty good. Ate good food, slept a lot, made quite a few bits of art, which you should all be doing. I hope you did your homework and I hope you do it again because it's good for you. Alright, so for the first time in a long time, this video is actually mostly scripted. Usually I just wing it and yap, but for this one I wanted to make sure that the lore I tell y'all makes sense and I'm not just jumping from one idea to the next like normal, so it will kind of be like I'm reading a story to you. But that being said, I'm drawing my OC Ryok. If you saw the previous video, you might recognize her because she's one of the 4 King's generals. I know I said last time that all of the characters in the last video were generals, but not really. The cat and the kid have different roles. Ryok is from an elven field village from the outskirts of the kingdom. The elves have very few of them left, but in the kingdom they are protected and unbothered. They separate themselves from the rest of the citizens because they believe they are the true citizens of the kingdom and are above the rest. She, like everybody else, loved the village and believed that she would spend the rest of her days there. But then, while she was at the well fetching water for her garden, a bumbling human knight who looked very lost approached her. He said that he felt as if a compass was inside him, pulling him in this direction. He was looking for something or someone, but wasn't sure what or who. This man would become her husband, the executioner. They would meet and spend many days in the village until he eventually suggested that Ryok become a general. The generals were chosen by the king, and the only people who could suggest another person go before the king were already knighted generals, such as executioner. It is up to the current ruler what requirements a general needs, but it is usually the strongest of the kingdom, and there are usually many generals. But not this time around. Ryok was the last of 4 to be knighted, before the Battle of the Gate, years later, that is. One day, the king ordered all the generals to go fight in a battle. At the time, the kingdom was at war and was struggling to defend itself. So for the first time in a long time, all the generals were on the battlefield together, spilling the blood of the enemy. It was a horrid battle, gruesome, and many soldiers on both sides were dying. Then a great light showed in the sky. A bright magic circle was summoned above them. Clara, the leader, called out to the rest to run or defend themselves, but Ryok could hear the sadness in their leader's voice. Ryok knew it was too late to escape. She decided to cast a spell on the army, a protective spell that would save them from death. After Ryok awoke, she found herself laying on the ground, in the middle of the field. It was morning now. She looked around to see that the spell had not fully worked. Dead soldiers' bodies lay as far as the eye could see. The great light was too strong of a spell for even her, the best mage of the kingdom, to stop. This is when she realized the light spell was the king's, and he had betrayed all of his soldiers. He had killed them all. She was angry and wanted to get her revenge, but more than anything, she wanted to see her husband and her child one last time. She cried for her fellow general, her love, but as no tears fell from her eyes, she realized that she was a ghost. Her spell had worked. In some ways, it had kept her here in the world, but she was no longer a living being, but an undead. Maybe the spell had saved her love and the other generals too. At least, she wanted to find her daughter, who was presumably in a forest hiding by now, then gain even more power and make a plan to overthrow the killer of a king. Yeah, and that's as far as the script goes, because that's pretty much her story. There's the rest of it, but I want to reveal that with the other characters in their own POVs when I draw them and make their own videos on them. So I'm just gonna start talking about the art, talk about Ryok and the rest of her personality. So she's really cool. Actually, most of the drawings that I have made of her for this video at least are when she's still alive. Like this center one is at the Battle of the Gate when she's casting her spell trying to save the other people. The drawing on the right is just her like interacting with her daughter. The one at the bottom left is her when she finally finds the executioner, her husband, if she does, when they are dead. So this is after the Battle of the Gate. So hopefully they find each other. I like drawing them together. I think they're really cute, and I think it's a really wholesome relationship. And I hope you guys also like that. And then the top left is just her smiling. I gave the elves blue tongues. I thought that was pretty cool, like an interesting thing. She also has hazel eyes because I couldn't decide what kind of eyes to give her because her daughter has, I believe, like brownish eyes, and I want to make sure that her and her daughter still are like connected visually through the colors of their eyes. And also her dad will have the same kind of color as their kid's hair. It's pretty similar, but I figured that Ryok's white hair would like make it lighter on the kid or darker, it would change the color in some way. But that's how I kind of made sure to wove the two of them into their kid. And then I also wanted the green because Ryok's like very green color is really in her gems and like jewelry. She's not really like green because her entire outfit is white, but that's just kind of like the elves style. It's very like nature white flowy kind of clothing, you know, gold accents, such stuff like that. But Ryok herself has like nature jewels and like things to enhance her power and things that she kind of just likes. She likes the green, so it feels like she's connected more to like her village and living out in more nature than in the big city. Her magic is also green, as you can tell now. It's like a neon-ish green it eventually becomes. In the drawing, I had a lot of fun with this lighting. I thought it gave me so much trouble. It was very annoying, but it was a lot of fun. Actually, this whole drawing really was. And this is the final product. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you liked this video. And it was more scripted. I hope you like her story, though. So make sure to do your homework, do your work, and be safe. Don't die.